What's up? What's up, my degenerates and fellow gambling addicts? Welcome back to another episode of The Opening Edge. I am your host, the most spectacular, the one and the only Roz. But of course, I'm joined by my two stooges. He is the saver, the trader, the stacker, and the repeater. He is the big Witz. And then we've also got, again, in his Puma attire, wannabe Ricky Fowler, trying his very best, Big Ruby Tuesday on a Monday. We've got Ruby Tuesday on a Monday.
Glad to be back.
How you guys
Glad
doing?
to be
Witz, how
back.
you doing? Witz has got a bigger smile right now than the entire episode last week.
Did it ever get posted? Do people know what we even pick?
Yeah, we're there. It's posted. It's live. It's actionable. We're on a website.
Hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully it was after. Save the people some money.
Hey, we'll account for bad golf picks. I do want to say Tom Hoge finished 13 under, was in the top 40. Didn't mean anything happened. Didn't even get
You only finished 10 shots back.
There are in some states going to be special DraftKings and FanDuel odds just to take who's going to be the best finisher of the opening edge. I'm just pointing out that it would have been me this past week. Nothing really to write home about. It's a tough tournament for the boys here. For our first episode, it was a tough tournament.
It's very misleading, 13 under. That's like me saying, I shot a net 72 this weekend, but in reality, I shot a 97.
You take the way. I mean, who knew? Epic blow up. I was gonna wait to get into golf, but for somebody who's working on their golf game, and I'm getting there. I'm hitting the ball straight, just about 90 yards. Not hitting it very far. Doesn't matter if I'm using the pitch to the fucking 7. I'm hitting it about 90 yards, but it's going straight. We've slowed the
There was like a 6-year-old at the range I saw tonight that was hitting it farther than that.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm not trying to defend myself. I'm really not. Like I don't have any power. I probably look like a big guy on the screen. I mean, could be fat, could be muscle. We don't know at this point in time. Roz it's a pendulum. It's a pendulum in terms of the weight spectrum here. But I'm hitting it straight. Not the point here. We watched a PGA pro have the worst hands in the world. And I was telling you, Witz, did I not tell you I'm an all hands team right now. I do chip really well. And I think the guy should have called me in on the 18th hole this past Sunday.
Yeah, he needed it. That was a tough scene. It's no matter who's playing, it's really hard to win a PGA Tour event when you're that close. It's yeah, he kind of did what the average golfer like myself does all the time, just duffed a chip, and it was a very tough scene. But Taylor Pendrith played great. He's a great golfer, but yeah, it's a win's a win. Not going to take it away, but that was a very tough scene on the 18th hole.
Yeah, I mean,
only bogey at that hole all day, which is quite the stat for the guy. That's 23 under.
That's more historic. Holy shit!
Not great.
You don't want to be that guy. The only guy you wanted to be on Sunday was Tom Brady, who might have had the best roast of all time. Still in the sports world, honestly, that's my take on it. We brought a sports guy in there. Randy Moss, tough go out there. I think it got overshadowed with how bad Ben Affleck was on that episode. Pretty funny. Nikki Glazer, big winner last night. And honestly, for me, didn't know Bill Belichick was so cute. Sounds weird coming out of my mouth. I'm not going to. The baby blue eyes, if you look and zoom in, and then also just the banter. Good banter, nice chuckle, positive things to say after making a joke. Baby blues. His Ring camera debut did get pulled up. Tom Brady hit him pretty good with that. I didn't know he was still laying the wood. You know, I mean, he's not doing clipboards these days, so he's playing with his own wood. And I don't know whose house he was leaving, but good on them for saving that Ring cam video, because that is the body of an adult I need to see, Bill Belichick. But I thought he was great. I thought he humbled. He was so humble. He was very sweet. Again, like I said, I used the word cute for Bill Belichick. Don't think that was going to be in my bingo card for 2024.
Yeah, I'll leave the blue eyes to you, Roz, to talk about. But I did think it was funny. You never know with these types of things these days if they're really gonna let loose or if it's gonna be one of those real sheltered experiences. And you knew right away within the first 5 minutes what you were getting yourself into. So I was very pleased to see that they were really, really going in on Tom, and shots were being fired across the entire stage. I haven't finished the whole thing yet. It was 3-hour experience. That's a little too much for me on a Sunday night, but I do have about an hour left. But I do think a lot of them were very funny. And even some of the football guys, they're not they don't have the stage presence that some of these comedians do, but Edelman and Gronk and even Drew Bledsoe had some good lines in there. So I thought it was super funny.
Yeah, I just saw a couple clips on Twitter, and it was outrageous. That's how I'll put it. There was nothing PC about it, which I appreciate. But yeah, I mean,
shout out Dana White, really making it not PC. That was quite the 60 seconds he was given.
Yeah, it was good. Bill Belichick got some
worth.
Personality. That's the only thing I can say. More than people would think.
Yeah, kind of surprising out of him, and even on McAfee's show for the draft, another side of Belichick I didn't really see. And yeah, you would never thought you'd see that from Belichick watching him coach for 30 years, but maybe he's turning a new leaf in his at least year-long retirement. We'll see how long it lasts.
They harped on that. They did not let him go easy. They called him unemployed. There was a lot. Tom Brady, by the way, because you guys didn't get to the end, and that's the hard part, 3-hour thing. Tom Brady's was actually very impressive, and he opened up in a way I haven't seen him. He's the cookie cutter, great response. My dad is my hero. We're on to the next game. He was a great competitor, like cookie cutter. He let loose like I've never seen Tom Brady let loose. It felt like 20 years of buildup. 20 years of that Michigan Combine video where he looked more like the Pillsbury Doughboy than he does a supermodel. So, I don't know. I think roasts are very interesting to watch. Tom Brady, I was very kind of shocked. That's a guy who's been in the limelight way longer than most. And when that happens, a lot of dirty baggage can come out at the absolute wrong time. I think like boys roasting, like if us three had a roast, a little different. I still think dangerous. I think potentially career ruining for some of us still. But you got to, honestly, at the end of the day, you tip your hat to a guy like Tom Brady for kind of taking it on the chin for 3 hours. Didn't need to do it.
Kind of surprised. Like, why did he do it? Do we know? Is he having some financial troubles 2 years into retirement? That's the first thing that came.
I mean, he's the divorce. The divorce is pending. So whatever.
Yeah, that's a quick 50%.
And he may be taking 50 from Giselle. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Giselle made more than him, but.
Oh, that's a great deal. I'm sure there's a prenup between those two. Quickly, I'm gonna roast you two. I'm gonna give my best shot here. I know Xander's upset about this already. He's very easily roastable. Rube, we'll start with the simple basics here. If you were to remove your cap so kindly, which you won't on this show, you would see people who have been wondering what's going on with LeBron's hair would really be shocked to find out where your hair's been. I mean, you're holding on for dear life. You're like that guy, Alex something in Free Solo, hanging on dear life over the Yosemite Mountains. But you know what? We appreciate you. And in the bald community, they loathe you because they just want you to come join them. Now, Witz,
I know that hits home to you because it's about you're only a few years behind me. So
I'm doing some product stuff though. Like I know I got a big.
It goes fast. It goes faster than you think. One day you think it's looking good. The next day, you're ready to get the razor out.
Roastmaster General after I finish. Xander, it's quite simple. You have the urethra of a fucking 98-year-old man, and it's plain and simple. Watching you pee is like waiting for the fountain at the Bellagio to start. It takes 30 minutes to get going. And that's just quick. That's top line roasting. Hey,
but it's worth it. It's worth the wait every time you push the button.
You know what? Hey, way to come back. And that's what I'm saying. If you get a roast that you can do this kind of like jab in a jar, it'd just be better. But fuck that. We're not talking roast. We're talking sports. NBA. I hate the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll get back to them in a second here. Fuck the Bucks. I'm officially out on them. I've been out on Doc Rivers forever. But we've got 4 series. The Celtics got out of Dodge with Miami. Miami gave one fluky game. Curious your guys' thought on that Jimmy Butler thing that just came out. Pat Riley, kind of a dog for saying what he said today about Jimmy Butler. If you guys haven't seen it yet, Jimmy Butler basically was commenting on the Celtics and one of the play-in games. I just cannot remember, maybe the Bulls, whoever they played, and was just kind of critiquing players on the other team or criticizing the way they play. And Pat Riley goes, if you're sitting on the bench, you should just shut the fuck up. Guy didn't play. Kind of the right take. Contract year. Doesn't seem like Jimmy Miami is a happy marriage anymore. But Boston kind of cruised the way we thought they were going to cruise. I'm curious, is there anybody stopping Boston in the East? Minus 1,000 to win the series against the Cavs.
No is my short answer to that. We'll let Xander get in on that if he wants.
No, I mean, I think there's only one team that might be able to give them a series, and it's the Knicks. But I think obviously Boston is clear-cut best team. They have been all year. Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White, a lot of the role players besides Tatum and Brown on that team. They're, I think, clearly the best team in the East. But I think the Knicks could maybe fight, give them a little bit of a series. But it would be an awfully good series by the Knicks if they were to even make it somewhat close. But yeah, if I had to pick, I'd pick Boston because they're just a better team. Now, are they going to win it all? I think there's a team coming out of the West that would definitely give them some trouble, and they've been notorious for not really coming through, I would say, in the clutch, in the conference finals, in the NBA championship. So we'll see, but I'd have to take Boston if there's any team, but I would like to see the Knicks.
Well, I honestly, what I've gotten, and somebody was pointing this out, I feel like there's a lot of talk about the East being diverse, a lot of wide open range here. I know the Boston Celtics had the best season in the East by far, but there is still a feeling to me, and maybe I don't watch enough basketball to have this take, there seems to be a sizable gap between the East and the West. And even at that Boston Celtics level, like, I get Boston, whatever the record may have been during the regular season, fine. But I mean, if they get the Nuggets in the finals, if they get this Timberwolves team, that is pretty fucking exciting, to say the least. It just doesn't seem like they might get a game or two, but I think they go down. They don't even force a game set. They go down in 6, go down in 5 to the Nuggets, in my opinion. No Kristaps. I might be harsher than you guys are willing to be. The East just doesn't stack up the way I've been watching basketball this year. The East doesn't stack up to the West. And the West has 3 or 4 teams that can win the title. The East is stuck on the Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think the West, from a depth standpoint, has way more contending teams. But Boston at the top, I still think, is not head and shoulders above anyone else in the West. But I still would pick them to win it. I just think they go 7 or 8 guys deep with their all playmakers and scorers, and they're really long on the wings too, which I think creates problems for other teams. They play great defense. I can't wait to see them stack up against the Nuggets or the Timberwolves, or, I mean, even the Thunder or the Mavs could get there, but like you were saying with the West. But as far as the East goes, I mean, I feel like normally we have a couple teams that have a chance in there. Like, I think obviously the Bucks being injured, the Sixers being hurt this year, I just don't think there's really anyone with even a puncher's chance to get by the Celtics.
I know, but I want to give life to Xander here in the Celtics. All right, not Celtics, the Knicks. We relate to getting you. We like to try to get you the opening edge here, but obviously, as you can see in the background, Knicks and Pacers game 1 has already started. What it opened up with was Knicks minus 185, Pacers plus 245 for the series. Honestly, a little disrespectful to the Pacers. I mean, maybe the Knicks are that good, but the Pacers crew, Halliburton including, and everybody they put around him, kind of feisty. Was a line I certainly took today. I absolutely bet Pacers to win the series, put 5 units on it, felt good about it. I also live bet, which we'll get into, the Nuggets series line, put 10 units on that. So
the
Mega Max whale play?
I put 62 units on the Nuggets this morning.
Hey, that's knowing your units, as we established, that's a nice $62. But no, I'm going in. But I know the Knicks are your favorite team, Witz, outside of the Celtics here, and think they have the best chance of getting anything. But do you like that line? Would you bet this series? Would you just let it play out? What are you looking for in that series? And is it just you trying to get the Knicks to see the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I thought the line was a little heavy in favor of the Knicks, but the Pacers, to me, I wouldn't call them feisty. I think they're kind of a weak-minded team. I think the Knicks are pretty much on every side of the ball. I mean, without Pascal Siakam, I think this Pacers team is in a lot of trouble. And having him as an addition is great, but I think this Pacers team is I think they're going to go down in 5. They're just not very feisty. Fine. And I know they took down a Bucks team that was decimated, but I don't think they're ready to compete yet. And I mean, with Boston in the East, I don't know if they ever will be, but I don't think they have what it takes to compete. I think they're kind of a weak team.
I agree with Witz. I think like teams like this, that the Pacers all year have been able to score the ball, but they don't play much defense. And typically in the playoffs, when the game
Couple
slows
points
down
away
a little
from
bit,
winning the in-season tournament.
well,
Just want to remind you.
it doesn't matter. That was 5 months ago. But teams typically, when you get into the playoffs and the game slows down, the team that's the better defensive team typically wins out. And I think that's what we're going to see as this series goes on with the Knicks. It's just that they play more defense than the Pacers do, and when these games slow down, the Pacers start missing a few shots. I just don't think they can hang with the Knicks. So I could see it going 6 games, just because I don't think the Knicks are that good either. But I do think that the Pacers, it'll catch up with them in terms of the lack of defense that they play.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think you guys. I don't know. I feel like you guys are real quick to be out on them. Like I said, it's my money, not yours. Sounds like you wouldn't have bet that way. Let's turn to the West, where we do have action. Timberwolves already up 1-0 on the defending champions, which is, by the way, wild. I mean, Anthony Edwards is maybe Michael Jordan 2.0. Saying that, knowing that he hates that comparison already. What do you think? Down one, took it in Denver. I already like that they're plus value on this series. Had to rip them. I think the Nuggets, they're just the more experienced team, and experience will catch up in this postseason to that Timberwolves organization. So I don't know. I'm big on the Nuggets here. Kind of was so hot on them losing game one, just knowing I was going to rip whatever line they gave me.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. No, I think this is the best series that we've had in the playoffs so far. I think I could totally see this going 7 games, but I think the experience will find a way to win out in the end, just with the depth that Denver has and the run that they've been on for the last couple of years. And then I think Rudy Gobert is sitting tonight with the birth of his child, I think. So that's, I think he'll probably be back next game, but that's 1 game without your best defensive player in there. So I do think it's going to be a great series. I would give the slight edge to Denver, but wouldn't be surprised either way if Minnesota would pull this out.
Yeah, this is I think game 2 is probably this episode's gonna air after it's over, but it's a must win for the Nuggets, in my opinion. Having Rudy Gobert possibly out that's a huge blow. I mean, on top of the fact that he is, I think, the second best defensive player in the league, but one of the top ones for this year. I mean, the fact that they can throw Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and Naz Reid at Jokic for an entire game. I mean, you talk about a little bit of a lack of depth with the Nuggets this year, which was, I think, really one of the main reasons they won last year. Obviously, Jokic, I think, is the best player in the league. But, you had guys like Bruce Brown, different guys coming off the bench, and I think they're just a little bit shorter this year in terms of the depth. You look at Minnesota being, I think, the best defensive team in the league. It's going to be a tough task for the Nuggets. I think they're still the better team, but if Minnesota can take 1 or take 2 in Denver, then I would heavily have to lean towards Minnesota. But I think the Nuggets are going to take it home tonight. And obviously, as you guys are listening, I think it'll be tied up 1-1. But I think this is going to be a heck of a series.
We take a look at the other side. Wrong teams. Oklahoma City versus the Mavericks. Mavericks plus 100. OKC minus 120. A little disrespect if you're the 1 seed. I like the Mavericks. And it's not like I can base that off of a lot of experience. They're a little banged up. Luka maybe ailing a tad bit. Kyrie playing the best basketball of his fucking life. I mean, the guy is an absolute flat earther, but at the end of the day, the guy can spin the ball with the best of them. And the way he's been able to carve up the Clippers in this series was insane. I lean on experience, and maybe that's because I'm finally older and wiser. And maybe being older and wiser is going to be my downfall. But I have to lean, even though I'm all plus so far, I'm still leaning the Mavericks and put my money where my mouth is. I'm taking the Mavericks to win this series in 6. I don't know. I think I'm buying in on this Thunder train. I don't know what it is about them, but they cruised through the first round, and Dallas really had to struggle through the Clippers. Not saying that obviously I think the level of competition is a little different there, but the Mavs are a little bit banged up, like you said, with Luka. Kyrie is always injury prone, and the Thunder made quick work of the Pelicans, so they're fresh going into this round. And they've got young legs and a lot of exciting guys, and they play great defense too on the wings. So I think they're going to just throw a lot of different looks at Luka and Kyrie. And if SGA and Chet can be up to the challenge, I know it's only their first round in the playoffs, but if they can keep it going like they have all year, I really think this Thunder team can make some noise, and not only this round, but I think they could match up easily with Denver and Minnesota as well.
Yeah, I think the number is a little disrespectful towards the Thunder. I mean, I think there's a reason that, they're number one seed, right? It played in the West all year, did really well. And this Mavericks team, they're hot right now, but I think the run's kind of coming to an end. I mean, you look at some of the teams that they beat when they started going on a hot run, they really didn't beat very many good teams. They got a Clippers team that, every other night you're waiting whether Kawhi is going to play or not. You had Harden, Westbrook. But I just don't think they beat a very good Clippers team. In Oklahoma City, I think they've got all the pieces. They're young, but at a certain point, a young team is going to make a move. And I know it's very early on in their, I would say, collaboration with all the young guys. But I think they're a better team, and I think Luka. I think they're just going to run out of gas here. So I like the Thunder.
Oh, okay. Not riding any underdogs. It sounds like you guys are big on where we're standing. I wonder where you guys would have been pre-game one of the Nuggets and Timberwolves.
Nuggets are an underdog now.
Well, that's
we all took them.
Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like you guys gave a great case. I know saying if they can't get past or even the series, sound like you guys were big on the Timberwolves. Let me tell you, if the Timberwolves go up 2-0, I'm telling everybody who listens to this show, fucking double down, mortgage the house, get rid of your car payments, go to the nearest casino and put everything you have on it that the Nuggets come back and win that series. You get it probably at plus 350. Put everything you got. Your kids' college loans, double them, right? Just give everything you can. The Nuggets are not losing this series to the Timberwolves. I'm sorry to burst the Minnesotan bubble. NBA Finals picks. It sounds like we're kind of consensus on Celtics coming out of the East. I'm still a firm believer of in the NBA picking the champion until they go down. I just think it's going to be a Denver Nuggets beat Boston Celtics situation in this year's NBA Final, and I'll find you prices on that. But that's my opening edge pick to write out the NBA season. I don't know what you guys are thinking. Witz, usually you're contrarian, but who knows? Honestly, doesn't sound like it so much today.
Yeah, it's hard to be contrarian in the East. I'd have to go with the Celtics. And as we're sitting here right now, I hate to say it, but I think I'd go with the Nuggets too. I think, if Rudy Gobert doesn't play in this game, 1-1, kind of did your job, right? You got the second game after losing the first one. I think the Nuggets are still the best team, but if this series goes 7, right, in Oklahoma City, maybe can take that series in 5 games. I think it's a big rest advantage, but I'll go Nuggets Celtics as well. Not very exciting.
Ruby.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on Boston. I'm with you guys on Boston, but I like the Thunder though coming out of the West.
Oh.
I'm really a firm believer in this young team, and I think SGA is legit. I think Chet's been great. The multiple Jalen Williamses, I can't tell them apart, but I know they both play good defense and they're good shooters. Lou Dort too. They're all so young and athletic, and all it takes is a hot run sometimes. It doesn't happen this quickly in the NBA most of the time. You don't really see this, but I'm a firm believer until they get to the Celtics. And I think the Celtics are by far the best team in the NBA, and they're going to make quick work of anyone that they're up against in the finals.
Ruby Irish over here. My God.
Mm-hmm.
Probably no legacy connection, but if the Thunder found a way to win the NBA title, does it stain Mr. You-know-who? Mr. First round exit? Mr. needs a super team everywhere he goes? Needed already a 2-time champion team to push him across the edge?
You put the SGA statue instead of Durant statues going out front in Oklahoma City. That happens.
Which is the better team? Durant, Russell Westbrook, Harden, Thunder team that went to the finals, or potentially this? Again, unless the Thunder make it, this is a moot point. But if the Thunder make this NBA Finals, which Thunder's roster would you rather have?
I feel like at the time that Thunder team was so incredible. I feel like I can't go away from that yet. But I don't. It's too early to say that.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Hypothetical
Legacy. Just you doing that right there proves that He is who he is. He might not be a winner anywhere other than Golden State, but you're still taking him.
As everybody else always does it, so it's just commonplace. People falling into the trap.
Hey, we're a bunch of ducks here, and we're going to talk a little puck, which we don't do often. I went to my first NHL game this season. Electric, just absolutely gets you rock hard, 0 to midnight, like I've never seen before. You guys have pitched in and watched a little hockey this past weekend. Quick hockey thoughts, because we clearly don't know what we're talking about on this front. I'm certainly going to tell you who I'm gambling on, but that's pretty much the basis of my knowledge. Boston wins in a Game 7. Very important game for them. They're now headed on. They're going to play the Florida Panthers. They're dogs, plus 160. Can they right the wrong from last year? I know they set the record for most points in the regular season ever in the NHL, plus 160. Honestly, I'm just riding the dogs here, and I kind of want Boston. I know they just had a long-ass series. Florida a little bit more fresh, but there's something about that Merchant guy who's still there since I was a fucking teenager at Deerfield High School. Like, one more go. Come on, Boston.
I don't have much of an analysis for you here. I'm gonna take the Colorado Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup. That's my big pick.
I like it. I was gonna say I like Avalanche in this series. Stars just went to a Game 7 on Sunday night. Very exciting. They won, but I'm gonna make one play here. It's gonna be an Avalanche Oilers series parlay. So I'll take the plus 100 and the minus 260. I think the Oilers are just a much better team than the Canucks, and they've got the best player in the NHL. So I think they're my favorite team to get to the next round, and I like the Avalanche too to advance.
We're riding and dying on the Oilers and Rangers here at the opening edge, and by we're riding and dying, Roz is riding and dying on those two teams. So I took a finalist bet, 22-1, back before the playoffs started. We need the Oilers to meet the Rangers in the Stanley Cup. That's what I've got. So why not parlay the Rangers at their minus 140 against the Carolina Hurricanes? And obviously Edmonton's up at minus 260. They must really think the Canucks are about to get the stick. I did mention to you, hockey playoff format is very interesting. The Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, two of the higher seeds in the West, I believe. I have to assume they're in the West. I mean, those two teams are opposite the end of the other side of the Mississippi River. And then Edmonton seems like they're just going to cruise against the worst team in that division. They're only a 2 seed. I don't know. It seems like it's going to be a cakewalk for Edmonton. I think there's going to be a beatdown in that Avalanche Dallas series. That all these guys are going to be kind of hobbling into the Edmonton one. I'm going to be covered on that side. When it comes to the East, no fucking clue. I'm just hoping the Rangers can do something for New York that New York needs. The New York State, the New York City needs one of their teams to do something. They're the biggest city in the world.
They got 2 shots at it right now. They're getting
Rangers and the Knicks
every other night. Well, they got two chips right now.
And the Yankees.
Imagine being a city that had that right now. I think Boston's got it too right now. I think in Colorado too, having a playoff game every night for this entire week.
Yeah,
so we get the Bulls who barely make it into the play-in game,
which doesn't help their lottery position either. Not that this draft is going to mean anything, but the NBA draft means little to begin with. All right, let's wrap the show up. The edge picks coming in. We're going to do better this week.
Before we get to next week, just a quick point of clarification that my pick, Mackenzie Hughes, also finished 13 under. So your victory lap is rescinded. We both had the same finish.
It's a tough pill to swallow. I'm not going to lie. We own our mistakes here at the opening edge. It's a bummer. We apologize for taking a victory lap for finishing in the top 41. We're hoping.
I bet my mortgage on a Tom Hoagie top 40. I've got nothing left.
And if you did that, don't come looking for us. We don't want to help you out. But this week, put the mortgage on what we're telling you to do. We are at the Wells Fargo. Scotty Scheffler's wife had the baby. He is out of the field. And no, I don't think that just because Rory McIlroy won a fucking golf tournament recently, that means he's all the way back. No, Mr. Can't win a major anymore. Rory is plus 750 leading the field. And that is dirty money, folks. If you put money on Rory, you might as well have just given it to me. You might as well have dug a hole in your backyard. You might as well have set your house on fire. Rory plus 750 is an absolute crime when you're looking at golf tournaments these days. The guy is a fucking loser. Hey, did great things. Won his majors back in the day. The guy has been wrung out like a dirty hand towel used in Witz's bathroom, right? Just ring, ring, ring. Passed up on millions and millions of dollars at the Live, and then also just got hung out to dry by the PGA. This guy is not a winner. Doesn't matter if he does it on a small scale tournament. It's not happening here at the Wells Fargo. Sorry that I feel like I'm really diving in on Rory to start this tournament.
So yeah, there's about 70 other guys we could talk about, maybe pick.
That's the nice thing, because the guy I'm going with, and I'll lead off this week again. I do feel like my minus 13 was just a tad bit better than Mackenzie Hughes' minus 13. So I'm going to go Patrick Cantlay. A little against the grain for Roz. You guys are new to this thing, but I genuinely don't like Patrick Cantlay. Usually he's the same thing I just told you about. He's a money pit for me. But at 22-1 in a field of 70, there's something spicy about the UCLA grad. I think that there's a real opportunity for him to shine and get back to winning. It's been 2 full golf seasons since Patrick Cantlay has put a trophy up above his shoulders, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty 22-1. Put some money in.
I think it might be time for a new prescription there, Roz. I'm seeing 16 on the odds that you sent us, but give you 22. It's all the same. He's not going to win. I'm going to take a little bit more of a flyer here. I'm going to go with Steven Yeager this week. Only guy to take down Scotty Scheffler in what seems like the past year. He's been playing some good golf, 50-1. I think throw a couple sprinkles on there, and I take him for a top 20. Kind of in the middle of the board here, but I think he's my favorite play for the week.
I'm going back to one of our old friends here. He hasn't been that great for a while, but he was the original winner in our golf betting career about 10, almost 6 years ago, I think.
God, no.
I'm going to Justin Thomas. I know that recently it hasn't been great, but he's showing a little bit of form. Top 5 at the RBC Heritage a couple weeks ago. This is a course that he has played well in the past. He's got a win under his belt at Quail Hollow in the past. And you're getting, relative to where he's been in the past, a good number, I would say, at 22-1 in a smaller field. With Scotty not being there, I think it's pretty wide open. I don't think there's anyone that's been that dominant outside of Scotty, and he's at home on the couch this week. So give me Justin. I think maybe he starts to turn the tides. Maybe the RBC Heritage was a sign of things to come. He's a guy that can win a tournament. It's been a while, but definitely can do it.
The way I saw him exit the Masters or whatever tournament, the Players, I don't even remember which one it was, the disaster, literally going 8 over on the final 4 holes. The guy is a fucking head case, and you know what? You ride. I appreciate you. Witz, I want to make a comment here. These are freshly new prescription glasses, and I do have an answer for you. These live odds have shifted since I sent you that email a while ago, as now Rory's plus 600, but the opening line and the opening edge that we're trying to give our fans was Patrick 22-1.
Did you probably bet it down? You're a market mover.
People know I'm a sharp. They know I'm a sharp. They know that I come in with my analytics, and it's been bet down to 16-1. I would take that thing all the way down to 14-1. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just go on it. And honestly, we always can root for the first hole bogey, and then we just hammer the bet button. So it seems like Cantlay's weekend. I can't wait to let you guys reap the reward of taking my pick and winning with me. This has been the Opening Edge. We got any closing thoughts, Witz? Thank you for making the time for us, of course. We know you're a big financial advisor, saving, trading, stocking, and repeating. Any final thoughts on this week's episode?
Just looking forward to the Timberwolves Nuggets series. I think that's top of the list for me right now.
That and taking a clean pee sounds like that's a good life for you. Rube, I know you're headed to a golf course near you at some point. How do you feel? Any closing thoughts?
No, I think hopefully we get a little bit of a more exciting golf tournament. I think, when you don't have a guy in the fight in a tournament that Taylor Pendrith wins, it's a little bit of a snooze fest. So hoping we get a little bit more excitement this weekend, and then we're getting close to PGA Championship time. So golf's been not super exciting the last couple of weeks, but hopefully we're making a turn here.
Okay, so all we can ask for. This has been The Opening Edge. I'm your host, Roz, the hostess with the mostest. I can't even do an outro the right way this time, but it's a new show, so we'll get it right eventually. Peace.